the day of election day, we were here 5:30. We opened the polls as we normally do. We had the machine working from 6 to 9:30 like it normally does. You stick the ballot in, it says ding-a-lings and says accepted. Around 9:30, people put their ballots in, and we're getting screens telling them that they didn't vote for the right number of people, that they voted double, and other different messages.
Never happened before. I've been doing it for about 12 years.
No,
That's not a lot, that's not a long time, but I've never.
It's
I
never
was
happened
against it.
before. So when it first happened, I was chairperson of for the day, and I called the Board of Elections, and they told me not to pay any attention to it.
Whoa.
The second time I called is when I realized that we could see what the names of everyone that they were voting for. And I think I also spoke with the Gill Road election poll workers, asking them if they were having a similar problem. And Doris was working down there. So, when they told me, don't worry about it, I said, well, I told them that was an appropriate response.
Pay no attention to the man behind that screen.
Yeah, and then when I called them back and they told me that, I said, well, these people need help. And while I was on the phone, we had a voter yelling and tearing their ballot out
Uh-oh.
and walking out because they were so frustrated they weren't gonna vote. That happened to another person as well. So that did not impress the Board of Elections at all. So I said to them that we need someone to come fix this machine, and they said, oh, don't worry about it, just don't help anyone. Another bad response. We called them back one more time, and that was right before they came and opened our machine to take out ballots that were write-ins. Now, Gill Road had a problem. The machine got jammed. And the Board of Elections said it was because they had too many write-in ballots. So, how long did you wait, an hour?
35 minutes.
35 minutes for them to come to fix the machine. But in the meantime, usually you can put your ballots in the other side slot, but they told you not to use it.
They didn't mention that we could do that, so we had several people standing there with ballots in their hands waiting without knowing what to do with them.
Okay. So anyway, another lack of knowledge on the part of the Board of Elections. So when they went down there, apparently they thought they'd come up here and take our ballots too. So when they walked in, I recognized the one woman, did not recognize the other woman. They opened our machine and took the ballots out. Put them in a little bag, put a lock on it. Okay, and they left. Now here we have voters all standing around. Needless to say, the voters were not happy and they expressed it.
They didn't sign anything that they were taking?
Nothing. Nothing. They couldn't get in and out of here fast enough. I don't know if they did the same thing
I
down there.
made them sign mine.
Yeah. Well, they had known, they came in here and I don't think they were here 3 minutes. But needless to say, we actually had voters calling up the Board of Elections because the machines weren't functioning right, as well as the fact that they came in and took ballots out. So that's what happened. That night, I asked the other poll members or election workers if I want to write a letter and say to them, we need to fix this. This can never happen again. And fortunately, all the other poll workers, both parties agreed. We wrote the letter that night and we mailed it to them. We stressed, I think it's important only to stress that we explained what happened, and then at the end of the letter, we also said that, and there may be innocent explanations for all these irregularities. However, they created confusion and increased mistrust of Board of Elections, the poll workers, and the overall process of voting. All of the poll workers that were here signed this letter. We just got a response from the Board of Elections, which, bottom line, they blamed the poll workers for not knowing how to turn the machines on.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
We're preparing a response. everything that happened that day was a result of incorrect selection in the opening of the machines. The only problem with their explanation is that why the machines work for 3.5 hours in the morning and then suddenly change up here. I don't know if you had the same experience down at Gale Road.
I wasn't paying attention that early,
Okay.
so I'm assuming that there were no problems at
All right.
that time.
Okay, so that's one thing, and then they told us that, when staff didn't understand when I called and explained the problem. Of course, we're going to, well, if they didn't understand, why did they ask? We called 3-4 times. And it's pretty basic. I sent them pictures of the screens that were coming up, so I don't know why they didn't understand it. So, they also confused Hill Road with here, saying that, they were here because our machine was getting jammed. No, our machine wasn't getting jammed, Gill Road's machine got jammed, but they still took our ballots. And, okay, she didn't understand. And why, when they came here, didn't they fix our machine? They knew that we were having all these problems.
Well, they didn't fix ours either.
Oh, I know,
It got worse as the day progressed.
oh, yeah. Well, after 9:30, no matter who put their ballot in there, that we were getting all those. I mean, I spent my whole day at the machine to make sure that the voters didn't get upset, and they were told the correct information as to what was going on. Well, fix problems, and our purpose for writing the letter was not to place blame. We wanted to meet with them and have them tell us how they're gonna fix it. Obviously, that did not happen. So that's what happened that day. In the meantime, we found out that our infamous chairperson for the One Republic, Mr. Bogardus, is being reappointed by our new, our county legislator in the very near future. And, I don't know about the Democratic chairperson, but she might also be up for appointment. And the county legislature is apparently the individuals who appoint these people. It's also my understanding that there's, out of 11 Republicans on the county legislature, only one Republican is going to vote against this. So I was hoping there'd be more people here to urge them to be contacting our county legislators, because we certainly don't think this man's doing the job. And it's not just this, what happened the other day. I mean, it's been 10 years that he doesn't do, is not responsive at all. We also found out that there's 2 committees in our New York State Legislature who's supposed to, we have a standing committee on election law, and we also have a subcommittee on election day operations and voter disenfranchisement. The only problem is when you go on their sites, the last time they posted anything was 2018. Then we found out that there's a Senate 657 that was approved by the Senate, but then last year it did not get to the Assembly, and that's based on what Mr. Assemblyman Takes advised, because I asked him about it, because he is on one of the committees. And he advised that the reason that it was not, there were a lot of issues with it, and what that bill entails is that they want to take all the data from all over New York State, send it to Stony Brook, and I think SUNY, and have the students compile and analyze the data, so that anyone who foils just has to go to that one location. I mean, that sounds really frightening to me, but instead of going to each Board of Elections, they're going to streamline it for us. So it did not get introduced, and the reasons, there are concerns: $2 million fiscal note outside the context of the budget, lack of support by SUNY and CUNY, and lack of support from private institutions and citizens. They also were concerned that a lot of the elections don't fall under state or county boards. It could cause additional fiscal costs to small local governments and taxpayers. and it was rushed, they didn't vote on it because it was rushed to the floor, not allowing anyone time to get input from constituencies or professionals that might know a little bit about it. And then today we were talking about, what we in the town of New Baltimore would like to see happen here. And 9 out of 10 of the voters that came into the town hall, and I don't know about Gill Road, but when they left, they said they did not want to use the voting machines anymore. They wanted paper ballots. They're sick of the sign-in and the lack of confirming that they are who they are. So as a result of that, we do have a petition, that says the people of the town of Baltimore would like to return to, they do not wanna use voting machines. They wanna return to paper ballots, return to signature check-in books, one-day voting, ID required, ballots counted at each local district and board of elections and verify with the district, and eliminate use of ERIC system. Now, I only today learned about the ERIC system, and I would like Bill Bolke to tell you a little bit about it, because I did look it up since I last saw you this afternoon, and I said, oh boy. So could you tell the
Yeah, well,
folks?
I was gonna tell you before the meeting too, Anne Marie, that there's a discrepancy about who's using that in New York State right now. So, we'll address that later, all right? Because,
Okay, but what is it? Tell me
well,
what it is.
but many states, and I think Pennsylvania and New York are the exception, that is what it looks like. But this ERIC system is a voter roll system database that was brought into existence right after the 2016 election to try to clean up the voter rolls.
But who owns it?
Well,
It's a third party.
it's done through a third party. And,
Yes.
but it was funded by George Soros,
So we know the answer to.
which is really, you know, it's not a surprise. Because they own several of the manufacturers of these voting machines, you know? And, you know, and knowing some of their background and their so-called, call to a higher loyalty, you know, it shouldn't be surprising what's going on with these voting machines in our nation, because, you know, Marxism has made no secret of its theory and the absolute use of controlling votes. I mean, they made it clear that it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes.
Yes.
You know, that's a very old saying with them.
Yes,
Yes.
that is.
And look they see this as a higher loyalty, a higher duty to accomplish something, and so the ends do justify the means in their thinking. And so it's, you know, it's a very diabolical system, actually, because they use back engineered products in these systems, and they're very hard to detect. You know, the average audit system would never detect these things on the electronic side, you know, which is why there's a big push to go back to voter ballots, and we need to clean up the voter rolls.
But was it you that told me, or someone else, about how many places went back to paper ballots?
Well,
I
there
can't
was
remember.
19 states that got rid of this ERIC system, number one, because of all, more than suspicion of what this thing was designed to do.
Okay.
And so they're coming to the point where this ERIC system may just collapse for lack of usage.
Yes, okay,
You know.
because they listed all the states that were using
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
and there were quite a few.
yeah, and you know, and places like Judicial Watch
Yes.
did very specific audits and investigations on these things. And they found out that the states that weren't using ERIC systems were actually doing a much better job cleaning up their voter rolls, which is what this ERIC system was designed to
Yes.
do,
Mhm.
than the states using the ERIC system.
Well, so what we're listening to with that Senate bill, they wanna clean up everything and analyze it, so it's like a double jeopardy. If they have the ERIC system and then they wanna do that too.
Well, they're claiming these new machines, which are made and designed by ESS and Dominion. You know, they're a hybrid machine, and they're claiming that, because it's a screen input, voting system. And they wanna bring these out, and it's been held up in the Senate and the Assembly by quite a faction of people that are up, beginning to get educated upon the background of this. But it's important to remember that Georgia and Pennsylvania have been using these hybrid machines since, I think, 2019 or 2020, and they've had nothing but trouble with them. And this is the input that's coming back to some of our legislators up here, you know. Yeah,
Let me
and it's,
understand, is the ERIC system a software that is installed in the machine? that-
no, it's not in the machine. This deals just with the voter, rolls, the base voter rolls. So who is eligible to vote is based upon this. And so if you have 230,000 people that are dead, out of state, whatever, they can still appear on
Understood,
these rolls. And these algorithms can include these numbers into the voting system to, you know.
To have someone come in
And
and
look at that, and these are cybersecurity experts that have tested these systems that have come up with exactly the possibility of this going on. You know?
Yes,
I understand Georgia's has a statewide lawsuit about the same subject, and it has something to do with Trump's arrests and what have you. And this is going on, a lot of people don't know about it, but it's, I don't know, a month away or something away from coming to trial. And I can't find out anything more about it, but I think it would be worth, because it's gonna have an effect on Trump's trial, I think, and I don't know who brought it up or how it came to be, but that's some scuttlebutt that I've gotten on.
well, obviously, again, looking at who's in this room, I think that we know who's gonna be fighting for our voter rights, and we're still going to continue to go after the Board of Elections. And I hope everyone in the room can call as many people as they know and see if they can encourage them to start calling and writing letters, because, or signing petitions. I mean, we can start a petition, you know, and people will sign it, because in 2024, if what happened here on November 7th happens, this election's a sham. We will not be able to pull it
You know
off.
what is a sham? It's the mouths that do a lot of talking and they're not filling the seats.
That's
So
right.
if you have people that you're telling us, we're raising hell, frustrated and everything else, but where the hell are they?
Well,
That's my question.
yes.
Second question is, where are the elected officials that should be sitting here,
I thought they did.
right?
fighting this, yeah.
You know, listening to this,
that's
or
right.
at least commenting on this. I think at the next town board meeting, somebody's ass is gonna get kicked and royally, right? Where are they? Where are the newly elected people? I don't see them here.
Oh, they told me they couldn't come
They
tonight.
couldn't come.
Yeah.
Right? But they'd be belly aching like a bitch if they lost the elections,
Yes,
okay? Now, I know that, some of you people have called around to your neighbors and your friends. I'd call around and ask you, where the hell were you last night? Right? You got a lot of mouth, but no time to come in.
Well, it's interesting, Harold, because in 2016, there was a lot of accusations about voter fraud about the 2016 election, and specifically about Russian interference in other countries.
It's not Russian interference, it's
I'm
right
just
here in the
saying.
homeland, all right?
I'm just saying, what you're saying is that there was a lot of emotion on the other side about this, because they claim the election was stolen.
That's bullshit.
And
You know who's stealing
course,
the election?
but-
It's all this AI crap we've got going around, right? All of this cyber bullshit. Now, if people would start standing on their own 2 feet, using their God-given spirit, and come out and use their intelligence, their natural intelligence, instead of their artificial intelligence for once, we might not have some of these problems.
But now we have concrete evidence of this exact thing going on against and for the side that was doing the accusing in 2016. And like you were saying, now it's mum. There's no outcry. It's a one-sided outcry, and so, I mean, what are we talking about here?
Well, it's just
We're
like-
talking about an issue that should be, I mean,
It's just
truly
like the
bipartisan.
grassroots
That's right.
elections this
Yeah,
year.
I mean, I'm not-
Bipartisan.
And I'm not saying that,
Right.
you know, as
No,
some code word or something.
Yeah.
It's, seriously, if, we belong to a constitutional republic here.
Yes.
And the main function of governments, one of the main functions of government is to ensure clean and fair and actual elections. I mean, that's a basis to our survival as a republic, it really is.
Bill, all politics starts in the home. All politics start at the
No, it's
grassroots
true,
level,
it's true.
okay?
Yep.
This is where the problem is, right? And I don't blame the kids today, the last two generations, I blame the parents for not instilling in them
Everybody should be
a
worried.
sense of responsibility,
Yep.
okay? Now, that's where the basic problem is. And that's why this room is not full now,
Well,
because
Harold, it requires a person to do their own thinking. Because there's a massive amount of propaganda out there. I mean, if you're not reading anything outside of the mainstream media, let's face it, you have, all this is a story time,
I know.
right?
We have one
Right.
question, I think, yes.
Seems like you've gotta find enough people that care, and I don't see it in the voting, I don't see it in the
I'm
turnout, I
Why are
don't
they
see it in
afraid?
anything.
Like, what is everybody afraid
Well,
of?
I have to say thank you, Rich, for coming.
It's your future.
You must be our token Democrat here. But,
You'll leave a
Just call me
line.
very concerned. I
Yes.
heard what you were saying and I saw what was going on and I'm here because I wanna hear,
yes.
I wanna know more about
And
what's.
thank you, because I'm glad someone showed up. And I keep saying this is a bipartisan issue, but every time my peers on the other side say they're gonna
We're
join
gonna
and
have to
do it,
move on now,
I know. they
you know,
back off.
Because this is,
And
getting
you
too
know-
drawn out.
Yes,
One more thing you mentioned, they came in and took the ballots out of here that election day.
Uh-huh.
Did they leave you count how many they took?
No, because,
nothing,
no,
no.
because of counting them would have taken forever anyhow.
Wait a minute, they came
They're
in,
supposed to give you a count of
they
signatures.
grabbed them, they put them in a little green bag and they left. And they
Right.
told us in a letter that they sent back that we were ingenuine, that ingenuous that, we knew who they were when they walked in, blah,
So
blah,
what?
blah. Well, that's not the point.
No.
I might have known who one of them was, but the people here, standing around here, they should have said, we are from the Board of Elections, here's our ID, we're here to take ballots, cause I said to them, what do you mean you're here to take ballots?
They might have been scared.
Well, I mean, it's a definite lack of professionalism, right?
Well, that's a consistent, ongoing issue with these people. But- Oh, you want me to read the letter?
that you got yesterday?
Sherry
But
wants me
you
to.
could have evidence up your butt and people still won't come. I mean, we could show them everything they need and they still won't support. Like, we need people to speak, that's, you know,
Look at this room.
Sissy,
it's
don't
sad.
read it, I'll publish it.
Okay, my brother will publish it, the letter from the
'Cause
board,
we need to move on, yeah.
and that way everyone can have it, and he's much better with the emails than I am. And I wanna introduce Anna from the New York Citizens Audit. This is a bipartisan group, I wanna emphasize that, and please emphasize that when you go back home, Richard, that has been working, and all their audits are based on the Board of Election, New
We're
York
gonna
State.
talk about voter rolls,
Yes,
the New York State voter rolls.
there's,
Also, I've asked Kevin to, use my phone to record, so I will send you can send it out, a YouTube video
Oh,
of
good,
all of
good.
this, okay? So you'll have it.
Great.
Now, Harold, you have to excuse me, I do have to read this because, you know, getting old is not for sissies.
Tell me about it.
All right, good
Really?
evening, my name is Anna Broker, representing New York Citizens Audit as a dedicated volunteer, not an official spokesperson. I'm grateful for this opportunity to present our findings to you this evening. On October 21st, 2021, New York Citizens Audit received their first copy of the New York State voter roll database called Nice Voter. We call it Nice Voter. It's NYS Voter. Then, using FOIL requests, we asked every county board of elections for copies of its local database. Not all complied. This was important because election law clearly states that county boards of elections maintain their own databases, with the state database acting as a compilation. The state has almost no authority to add, change, lost my spell, or delete any information from the database. When New York Citizens Audit first began, the 2020 general election was our primary focus. As I mentioned, New York Citizens Audit foiled, received, examined, and compared the New York State Voter Database, the official record under the Help America Vote Act, HAVA. We found many anomalies in the voter registration database, and we had questions. Certifiable elections must comply with the tenets of the law. Voter rolls must be accurate. Votes counted must be from eligible voters. The number of votes counted must equal the number of voters who voted. When New York Citizens Audit researchers searched the New York State database as provided on December 19th, 2022, we found 1,467,399 counterfeit registrations assigned to identities already granted a voter registration and a unique state identifier. The state gives you a ID number. The county has an ID number. The state ID number follows you within the state. So you can move from county to county, but that one state voter ID number stays with you always. In this box is a sample of duplicate voters in Greene County, or duplicate registrations. I can't say that they voted twice, but I can tell you that they have more than one, sometimes three.
When they're working.
I don't know. So, each voter in New York State is assigned both a state voter and a county ID number. Although the state database is designed to have a single state ID follow a voter as they move through the count from county to county, it is possible for multiple reasons that a voter may have multiple records with different state IDs. For example, if a voter registered more than once using the DMV's online portal, creating a duplicate record, their duplicate record may be purged, which would show the same voter and name with two voter IDs. One record would be active and the second would be purged. We've observed alarming irregularities such as posthumous, means they're dead, and pre-birth registrations. Over 1 million registrations on federal holidays and forged documents. These point to a severe data breach in New York's electoral process. Our head researcher found 4 distinct algorithms in the New York State voter rolls. This resulted in a peer-reviewed article, The Caesar Cipher and Stacking the Deck in the New York State voter rolls, published in the Journal of Information Warfare at Infowar.com. Infowar.com. By a brilliant researcher, Andrew Paquette. It took 6 months of stringent review to get published, and it is a difficult process. If anyone would like to read the actual peer review, which is quite long, please leave your email address and I'd be happy to send it to you. Dr. Paquette identified sophisticated use of stenography, a method of concealing data within plain sight, layered with obfuscation in the voter rolls. Upon penetrating these layers, a unique matrix emerges, hinting at the possible manipulation of voter data through State Board of Elections identification numbers. This raises serious concerns about the potential for inserting and manipulating phantom voters. Our findings were further substantiated by an article in the American Thinker revealing no legitimate purpose for these algorithms. They do not enhance security, as voter rolls are public and unmasked. far from optimizing database performance, they appear to hinder it. Conversations with county officials who were unaware of these algorithms indicate a hidden layer of data manipulation. What are we doing about it? We have been presenting a resolution for an end-to-end audit of the 2022 general election across this state to towns, cities, villages, all municipal entities. There's about 2,000 of us across the state, and 2-3 nights a week, we're out asking town boards to sign a resolution for audit. This is a grassroots attempt from the bottom up. We've gone to several legislatures, and I'm hoping to go to Greene County Legislature if I can get in there.
Yes. Did the town of New Baltimore's board ever?
No, Town of Cairo threw us out.
Oh, not exactly.
Well, I have him on video. He said he wasn't going to entertain, I'm not entertaining you people. I've spoken to both sides. I don't know which side on our side he spoke to. And he would refuse to allow, well, he didn't allow the board to vote on the resolution for audit, so.
Who's he?
Who's the town supervisor?
Jason Watts.
Oh, Jason Watts, yeah. Well, he's a real.
So they didn't have a problem in that area? Or they didn't care?
Of course
had a
they did.
problem?
Yeah.
I don't know. They
But
we
our
went
town-
there.
Our town board here,
Esther is the one who, presented.
our
and-
town board here, did they respond?
We haven't asked this town yet.
Oh, we were doing it discreetly, which
We were
was
going
the
to,
first mistake.
Yeah.
we were going
Well,
to bring it up.
I mean,
I
you know,
think
there's
that
only
maybe we should,
well, this team is ready anytime. We're going, there's so many
Everyone's
counties
busy
here
today.
that we've, there's 62 counties. So we contacted the New
Yeah.
York State Board of Elections, the Department of Homeland Security, the DOJ Public Integrity Office. We contacted the FBI and the Special Investigative Unit of the New York State Police, demanding an official investigation into our findings. We have also presented to 89 members of the New York State Assembly and the New York State Legislature election law committees in Albany. I gave you a timeline of our efforts on one of the handouts. It should be on the back, I think. It's a timeline of what we've done and how far we've come. These officials refuse to respond or have spread misinformation about New York Citizens Audit. So it's, I call it the Alinsky rules for radicals.
Mm-hmm.
They blame us.
Mm-hmm.
We've got fuzzy math. We are a dark group. We're horrible.
Well, just check the first page of that book out and see who it's dedicated to.
Yeah. So we must pursue legal recourse, which is what we are going to do. And if you can spare a couple dollars and go to our website, www.auditny.com, this lawsuit is coming and we need the money, and this group doesn't waste a dime. We all have done all this work for free. I started in July of 2021, and I was on we had teams, I was on the FOIA team. We spent a lot of our money and a lot of hundreds and hundreds of hours of time to put this together. So we must pursue legal recourse. We are not trying to overturn any election results. Our clear and concise legal strategy will restore and enhance legally compliant elections which protect the rights of all voting eligible Americans according to the legal standards outlined in Federal Prosecution of Election Offenses, 8th edition, a 2017 publication of the DOJ. And we need your help. How can you help? We encourage you to review our findings. Go to the website. There is so much information at your fingertips, and it's easy to navigate. We could use your support for our legal fund. So New Yorkers can be assured that our future election results are provably and legally certifiable.
Just a question. The investigative authority comes from the executive branch, right? So if you're asking for an investigation, this comes through the criminal investigation or the corruption investigation units of law enforcement. However, before it gets to law enforcement, it goes to the DA or the AG. The law enforcement people are not going to do anything until
We
they
know,
get an order from
we've seen
upstairs.
sheriffs, we've seen the New York State Police who told us they would give us 20 minutes of their time and they gave us 4 hours. They said they couldn't do anything unless we told them who was doing the manipulation. Then they could go do something about it. We don't know.
You had to do the investigation?
We have to tell them who's doing this manipulation
Or you
in New
have
York
to do
State
the
database.
you have to do the
Listen,
investigation for law enforcement.
we aren't cracking this, we're not, hackers. We took their data, downloaded it, and did the research. We foiled for the information we wanted, and it took hundreds and hundreds of hours of the research team to pour over it. This thing doesn't come out in a really nice, beautiful thing out of your computer. It's not like that. But I thank you for your attention. I'd like to introduce our one of our Albany County leads, Esther. She's going to give you some more information, and she doesn't talk as fast as I do, but she knows what she's talking about.
Hello. So, like Anna explained about the New York State voter roll database, every individual is supposed to have one New York State Board of Elections identification number in the New York State database. So I'm gonna read from New York State law. NICE voter, that's NYS voter, shall maintain one record for each registered voter, including the statewide unique identifier. NICE voter shall assign a unique identifier to every voter that will remain with the voter for their voting life. That's the law. There's always supposed to be one registration and one identification number for each individual. But what happens is there are more than one. Now, a duplicate would be, a duplicate in the voter roll database would be the same person and the same number. Sometimes there's duplicates, that's not the problem. The problem is if the same person gets a second identification number, because extra identification number registrations give the possibility for fraudulent votes and extra votes. So our findings were that there are 1.1 million unique individuals who have 2.4 million registrations with different identification numbers. That means that 1.3 million of these additional registrations with additional ID numbers are unlawful. No voter can create an additional registration. This can only be created at the state level because these are state identification numbers that have been assigned. The additional registrations with the new identification numbers don't appear to be visible to the county boards of commissioners as this is done at the state level. And as I said before, false registrations means the possibility of false votes. In fact, some of the additional registrations have voted more than once. Unique voters with extra identification numbers have double voted in as many as 38 elections and triple voted as well, sometimes before any of the registrations were made. Marley Hornick, the executive director for New York Citizens Audit, on May 1st of this year, gave a presentation to the New York State Election Law Committee at the Legislative Building in Albany. You can see that whole presentation on the website, auditny.com. In it, she discusses Mr. M, who had 25 registrations in 25 counties, all registered within 1 month. Volunteers canvassed 19 of those addresses. Those addresses included an office building, a commercial gas well, and an art gallery. But Mr. M could not be found. Of the addresses that were residential, no one had any record of him, including the landlord of an apartment building who took the time to carefully look up the record. 17 of his county registration applications requested an absentee ballot be sent to the same PO box in Rockland County. His name is so unique that only 3 exist in the United States, but none of them live in New York. It is likely that Mr. M is actually fictitious. She also talks about Mr. B, who had 21 registrations, all with the same address, and canvassers who went to this address could not locate him. 2 of his registrations voted. Then there's the issue of almost 2 million registrations in the state voter rolls missing from the county rolls. Now I'm gonna read from the law again. New York State election law says, adding, changing, canceling, or removing voter registration records shall be conducted only by local boards of election. Why are there registrations in the New York State voter rolls that are not in the county rolls? If adding and all of that is only allowed to be done by the counties, where did these come from? It appears that the law is not being followed. They also found in 2020 that there were over 338,000 more votes cast than voters who voted, based on publicly information that we received from New York State. And what about the almost 200,000 votes cast in New York City that were missing in the New York State voter database? What happened there? As far as the algorithm that was discovered, a clandestine algorithm does not belong in a public database. Registration data appears to be able to be changed and manipulated by an unknown actor or actors. Implementing this hidden algorithm would have been very expensive. It appears that county commissioners who are responsible for certifying elections don't even know about it because it is hidden from them as well. Is there an audit log that documents time and date and person responsible for changes in the New York State voter rolls? That's a question I'd like to know. HAVA, the Help Americans Vote law, Help Americans Vote law, is a federal elections law that clearly states an acceptable error rate. New York State is not even close. It is not compliant with federal law. Banks, accountants, and air traffic controllers can run their operations accurately and with great precision. Is there any reason that the Empire State can't do this as well? In finance, auditors would be turning the books inside out to see what else is there. Elections are part of our national security infrastructure, and this is a national security issue. It is a recognized civil right in the United States for every citizen to have free and fair elections. Thomas Paine said, the right of voting for representatives is the primary right by which all other rights are protected. Our ancestors fought and died for our freedom. We maintain our sovereignty through honest, provable elections. The Supreme Court in 1964 said that the right to vote can be denied by the dilution of votes just as effectively as if it were completely prohibited. We have a deeply serious problem. You at the local level are the closest to the people. In order to protect our free government system, we must do something. That's why we've been asking town boards to sign a resolution for an audit of the 2022 general election. An end-to-end audit of the New York State election is absolutely warranted, which is all we're asking for of them. You don't even need to believe all of our findings, but we have enough evidence to warrant further investigation. If there aren't really any problems, then an audit would prove it. New York State has money earmarked for elections. There would be no cost to local towns or counties. There's no downside. Thank you.
You know, it just reminded me of something. I just found out today that we're paying out of our local budget, Jeff?
Yes?
Jeff Russo just.
God bless America, thank you.
He's our town supervisor. That we're paying the county for our elections?
There is a regulation that allows the county board of elections to disperse their cost onto the municipalities, the cost of the department and the running of the election. So I believe this year, I believe it's about $11,000 that the town has to pay Greene County for Board of Elections, and there are a few other charges unrelated with assessment and the like, but no, I'd say in the county it's probably over probably $150,000 that the towns pay to the county to support elections, and I could be off on those dollar figures.
Mr. Bogartis' salary, $150.
But why do we have to pay anything?
Yeah, why do we,
I don't understand either, since they come out and they tout that
Technically, we're
we've
paying-
actually brought in $3 million more this year in sales tax, so we're gonna charge the towns $150,000? It doesn't make sense.
So is this a where did this mandate evolve from? Is it a law? Is it
Yeah.
a regulation? Who passed the law?
I've barked against it for years. by the way, not every county charges their towns,
Well, when did they start doing it to us?
since I've been around.
So is it the county legislature that has mandated or created a law or
No,
regulation?
no, it's a state regulation that it's allowable, and if it's allowable, they therefore shall, and that's what's happening.
Have you ever heard of this?
No, every town in Greene County should be signing the resolution.
Yeah, they should be.
I know that the
No,
Help
no, I didn't
America
say we
Vote
couldn't
Act
sign a resolution, I'm just
sends the
saying
state
that
lots of
we
money.
get charged for it, the town
No, no, no.
taxpayers get
This
charged.
is different. Yeah, this is different, yeah, he's running, he's saying he's paying her on the New York State.
So they're taking our taxpayer dollars to pay,
The Board of Elections,
Well, for what?
County board.
for,
so that they can abuse us, I think.
But for what? Like,
Yeah,
for
what are we paying
paper, ink, what is it for?
For the machines that don't work,
for your salary,
my $240 I got
yeah, it comes out of the county,
for 18 hours.
the county
you're
gets
paying
reimbursed,
yourself.
the county gets reimbursed by the
And
town.
I want a raise.
The rental of the, I mean, these are minor dollars, but the rental of the, firehouse, I believe is $150.
We have to rent the firehouse?
The county pays the firehouse, then the county charges us. So at the end of the line, the town taxpayers pay. By the way, I'm just gonna tell you that the town receives a check for $150 to have elections here, from which the county charges us to pay them for the money they paid us.
That's a good way to buy things.
I mean, these are, there's a lot of stuff. I mean, I don't wanna say it's a dollar for dollar thing, that the entirety of the Board of Elections is supported by the towns, but there's a portion of it. So that part is true.
But if this is a permissive, indirect voting tax, that's being imposed on the town of New Baltimore, the permissiveness would require a resolution at the county level from the county legislature.
Yeah.
So the entire issue rests with the county legislature for putting forth a resolution, adopting a resolution on a permissive, regulation.
It's up to them to opt in or not, and
Exactly.
they are opting in.
Exactly.
Right, Albany County does not.
There you
No,
go.
but I mean, it's the Greene County legislature
In fact,
that's doing
Okay,
this,
so that's who's doing it.
because it's a permissive regulation.
In terms of my examining, first off, the town of Baltimore does it differently. What we have had, we do our budget,
Mhm.
and then we send it to the county,
Mhm.
and they would add $11,000 to our budget.
Mhm.
Oh, wait a minute, that's not what we agreed to. So what they do for the town of Baltimore, because we were kind of a, I don't know, poofart on this, whatever word it is. They now bill us. We're the only town that gets billed directly. All the rest of them are okay with it. And just as a further point of reference, there's two structures in counties. One is the Board of Legislature and the other is the Board of Supervisors. Most of the counties have Board of Supervisors. When it's the Board of Supervisor, it would be, in my case, me, who would be going into these meetings at the county in addition to the ones at the town, like I got nothing else to do. And we would set the county practices, the Board of Supervisors. Well, the Board of Supervisors in all these other counties say, hell no, we're not charging the town, that's where I'm elected by. But where's the Board of Legislature, we can do it.
No
And
sweat.
I can actually tell you, I can't speak about every year, but I know that the county legislator for the town of Baltimore has voted no against these charges. Whereas I think he was outvoted 13-1 or 1-13, however you want to describe it. In fact, I think on another year it wasn't even seconded, and he was the one who presented that. So to not do what they call chargebacks, that's what they call it. Anyway, please don't defer to me, I'm here to listen. So go ahead.
Oh, we've been paying, everyone, Jeff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I
So
could
can
do
we
it.
come to a town meeting and present a resolution?
I have no reason otherwise.
Alrighty then.
When?
Well,
What
Well,
about before the end of the year?
no,
Okay.
well, no, it's, well, I
Okay.
have to see what the schedule.
He's going to present to the town board to make a resolution that you come here and provide
during the
Well,
time
we're
frame
gonna send
of
the
the
resolution via
public
email or
meeting.
whatever, and then you can look at it, you can change wording if you don't like it.
Of course.
Basically, we want an end-to-end audit of the 2022 general election, and, it's as simple as that.
Please send it to me.
Okay, I'll send it to you. And then we would come to a meeting and probably wouldn't be before.
If you'd like to
I
sign
will.
our petition before you leave, we have a petition.
Another one?
I saw that, I had a question,
What's that?
that's why you want to sign it.
This petition over there on the
You said
table?
about
Yeah,
returning
that's
to
our
paper
petition
ballots,
that we're,
does it account for
That's-
absentee ballots?
That's
that's
their
our-
petition,
that's-
yeah, that's their petition.
For what?
There's
we have
also
a
a petition
petition
for
for
New
that
York
we want
Citizens
no
audit.
machine,
Okay,
paper
okay.
ballots, 1 day voting, and a few other things. We'll let you sign it.
Go ahead.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go sign this one.
Thankfully, it's right for one. You could have gone out this way.
Yes, for this.